Get mantra and meditation MP3s at jasongallant.ca.
One thing I've found with a lot of spiritual students, and even myself, back in the day when I was first doing all the meditation exercises and mantras and things like that, is that it's pretty common for people to be too ambitious. And ambition, when it comes to a spiritual point of view, can be a positive thing. It's positive to channel your energies into your spiritual practice, like I've talked about, or being very vigilant with things. But there are times where you have to be compassionate with your own limitations. Right? So, some people, they may have trouble with a certain concept like detachment, where they're saying just reasonable things, like they're like, hey, I have trouble letting go of my loved ones. I don't want them to die. Right? I can't detach from just everybody being obliterated around me. And I would say that's a reasonable expectation for you to have trouble with that. That's really not the way that spiritual practices are meant to be applied. We're not asking you, or at least I'm not asking you, to apply your principles under almost insurmountable circumstances. Now, of course, the advanced stages of development, perhaps you will do these things, but what I'm saying to you is that it's best to start with what you can do instead of fixate on what you can't do. Right? It's much easier to work at one thread of the tapestry of illusion at a time instead of deal with the overwhelming scape of it all and say, okay, how do I get rid of all this? Because the truth is, you're not getting rid of anything. You're just realizing the truth. Realizing that your false expectation of fulfillment externally is not the truth. That your fulfillment is within you, and externally there will be the polarities of pain and pleasure, and nobody will blame you for saying, hey, if there's an option for not taking pain externally or not creating more pain externally, I'm going to take that option to experience a little more comfort in my life. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's not, of course, destructive comfort like addiction and that sort of thing. But in the end, this spiritual journey is about realizing that all fulfillment starts with you. It has nothing to do with the external circumstances. Those are more the superficial experiences of life. But your immortality, the experience of the immortal self that is even there when the body no longer is, that is experienced through the practice of letting go of the overwhelming fixation on the external. So if you find yourself not able to detach from this, not able to detach from that, don't worry about having to let all that stuff go. Just maybe just realize, just for a moment, that as great as some of those pleasures have been in your life, there's something greater within you. And the greatness within you is always with you. It never leaves. Where we know things that we experience externally are great, but then they're here, then they're gone. There's always the coming, going. Flowers bloom, flowers die, and then they come back again. There's a cyclical sort of experience to life. But fulfillment happens when you take a moment to let go of your overfixation on your life and your identity and your ego. Every time you fall just a little bit deeper into who you truly are, there's another level of fulfillment that comes to you and stays. It never leaves. And like I've said before, that's the buffer that you can have in your life as you deal with the struggles and the challenges that inevitably come your way. So often the experiences that people put so much weight on are just the tiniest joys of life. They seem overwhelming because you're focused on those external positives and negatives. But once you detach from that game or that experience for a moment and fall into the true self, that's when divine experience becomes possible. And divine experience has a much greater depth. So don't punish yourself for micromanaging the small amounts of joy that you have, but just for a moment, take a break from looking outward for joy. Take a break from looking externally and at yourself and at your idea of yourself as a source of joy. Just take a break from all of that game just for a moment and allow existence to unfurl within you. That unfurling of existence will be the medicine for your trouble. So I hope this helps you on your spiritual journey. Take care for now.
Are you interested in working with a spiritual teacher in a formal setting? Well, perhaps the Wisdom Life School is for you. If you're interested in checking out what the Wisdom Life School is all about, just go to aratima.com.